All right, welcome back to Fun with Cars live stream. Today we have a very interesting topic and one that I am connected to in a way. I spent about 3 years at a Jaguar dealership, and Jaguar came out with a brand relaunch this week that was very interesting to say the least. And it's been the talk of the town on all the social media platforms. Whether or not it was a good choice or a bad choice is up to the consumer, obviously. But I thought, even though this is a little bit risky, taking on the challenge of this topic, I feel personally attached to it. I do have some Jaguar content on my channel and just find it very interesting what they decided to do with their rebrand. I want to start by welcoming everyone that's here for the first time. I wanted to say thank you to Mexican Spec and Dale Schisler for being here. Dale had sent me a message a little while ago. They got hit with some ice and snow, and they're having some power line issues. And let's just say that reception and power and internet connection has been dicey there. I'm glad, Dale, that we haven't seen that here yet. Have yet to use the plow truck, and I agree. I'm going to show. Whatever comes out, there's no connection to their history. We're going to definitely get into that today, and I'm going to walk a very tight rope here to stay unpolitical and unbiased, but just lay out the facts of the matter on this. Hi, Jennifer Russell. Thank you for being here. I'm just putting Jennifer's comment up there, and Dale had said hello first. So hi to Dale, Jennifer. And I don't know, comment down below. If you're just watching the stream first time, you haven't been here, please say hello. Comment where you're from. Love seeing people from around the world. This platform, I'm not doing the vertical stream, as you can see, guys. The vertical stream gets a lot more views and views from people other than subscribers typically. So I usually do it that way, but to present this topic this week and to have it on the channel for people to check out and review after the stream, I'm doing it the horizontal old-fashioned way. I do like this a little better. It's easier to watch if I'm watching a live stream, but YouTube promotes the vertical live stream, so that's typically how I perform my live streams. So getting right into the content today, I do want to share with you the rebrand of Jaguar so that you can see it. Maybe some of you for the first time. Dawson's here. Hi, Dawson. Dawson's a returning visitor. I do want everyone to see this Jaguar brand rebrand, and I want I just want you to kind of absorb what they were going for. We'll watch it together. We'll see if I can get this to pull up on the screen and see what you think of Jaguar's new rebrand. So here we go. Hopefully you can see this okay. I can't see how it looks on your end, but hopefully you can still hear me. So here we go. Live vivid. The weak, the ordinary. Break mold. Copy nothing. And the new Jaguar logo. That essentially is what the...
I am 50 years old with
that.
a smoking history. Do I qualify for lung cancer screening?
Here.
Yes.
There we go. All right, so let's get back into this here. All right. So I apologize for that mess. So that's the new Jaguar brand. So it has a new logo. There's a new badge for the car. Instead of having a leaper with the fangs sticking out and, it looking very hostile maybe, or, aggressive, it's a circle with a right side up J and a upside down J. No idea what. So I found out about the Jaguar rebrand because I'm subscribed to Amla Akinobi. She kind of is a political commentator, but I like her stuff because it's pretty, like, she's got a good perspective of the whole spectrum of things, and she presented it in such a way that, you know, her take on it. She says she's not a car person. I wish I could show Amala's whole video on here, because what she had described, what was the one thing that everyone noticed may have been missing from the Jaguar rebrand advertisement? 30 seconds of what we watched, what was missing? Yeah, that. So Max, you said it right. This ad wasn't aimed at or not Jaguar buyers, right? So it's something that just defies odds. So in the background here on my screen, this is what a picture that I took of the Electrify the Pace. You can see it in the, I'll see if I can point up here. Electrify the Pace. There's a prototype. This is when the Jaguar I-Pace first came out and went to training in Southern California. We got to drive these I-Paces on the 405 from Irvine, California, right where the O.J. Simpson chase took place when I was in, I think I was still in high school. But that iconic road, we drove those on that road. This is when Jaguar just got into electric vehicles, battery electric vehicles. Very impressive vehicle to drive. We did get to compare them to Teslas. We drove on a closed track with Tesla Model X vehicles and then the Jaguar I-Paces, and we got to compare both of them. And it was at a closed air base, which was a Marine Air Base near Irvine, California, and I should have that in memory, the name of it, but at any rate, it was El Toro, and that's where the American version of the English car show was filmed. So, Dawson, my favorite car is a Lamborghini. Aventador is really my favorite. So, anyways, I'll get into the presentation for today, because this format, like I said, we're doing the horizontal format so you can see this. Just want to go over the overview of Jaguar's history and iconic status, and then the key milestones of the luxury car market, why Jaguars remain a symbol of sophistication. So Jaguars, so there's the old XJ from the 60s. That in my brain is etched into my brain what Jaguar stood for. A luxury sedan that somebody that was of means, that maybe belonged to a country club, that, you know, owned a business, they drove as a symbol of their success, because most people drive vehicles that represent their personality. So that's the iconic Jaguar. Dawson, thanks for coming in. I see you got to go. That's the kind of iconic Jaguar that I recall as a kid. And then when I got into the dealership world, the dealership group that I work for owned the franchise for Jaguar. When I was in my early 20s, I remember a car being parked in the shop when I got to work, and I'm like, it's this beautiful green Jaguar XJ, and I saw the price tag on it, and this is in the 90s. The price tag was $70,000, which today means nothing, but back then it was like twice the cost of any vehicle that I ever sat in or drove. And they're like, hey, you got to pull that Jag out of the shop. And I was so nervous driving that out of the shop that I was going to scratch it or something. And that was the first time I drove a Jaguar, and I can still remember smelling the interior, the leather, that rich smell. It just spoke money. Like I was driving something very extraordinary, right? Whoops, I went past a slide. So why rebrand now? That's the question. Obviously, there's challenges in the competition, market trends, financial struggles that the brand has had, but the whole car market has had. So the market shift towards sustainability and electric vehicles, that's kind of the move that Jaguar was making. Now, Jaguar Land Rover is a brand that it's the same company that owns it. I believe it's Geely Motors out of India, if I'm correct on that. They bought Jaguar Land Rover at about the time that I started at Land Rover, and then we purchased the Jaguar brand from a competing dealership group because JLR, as we call the parent company, Jaguar Land Rover, wanted the two brands or two iconic brands together. Both very upscale, both very expensive, and both, reminiscent of people of means and money. And that's what they wanted. They wanted both brands together to market to those clients. Obviously, they want to stay relevant. So that's typically when a company is struggling, they try to freshen the brand up to make it relevant again or keep relevant. But I think there's a key to that that's a little bit troubling, and I won't get into that. What the rebrand entails, obviously, details a new identity. We talked about that, the new emblem, the new Jaguar logo, the new hood ornament. So instead of what they call, so originally Jaguar had the Leaper, which if you remember, and I should have put a picture of my XJS. I actually bought a Leaper. The XJS that I had is a coupe, and coupes only came with what they called the Growler, which was a flat badge with a picture of a cat, a Jaguar, with the fangs sticking out. Very aggressive look. But in England, and any of the purists out there would tell you, they wouldn't allow the hood ornaments got off the vehicle because there was a law that they did not want hood ornaments on vehicles. In case a vehicle hit a pedestrian, they could get impaled with it. I've had many spirited debates with people on forums about me putting a classic Leaper, which is the Jaguar hood ornament, on my XJS because it's not pure. It's not how it came from the factory. And if I ever hit somebody, they could get impaled by it. Now, the aftermarket Leaper that I purchased for said Jaguar weighed about 20 ounces. And I just suggested to the naysayers in chat that if you got hit by the hood of my car, the least thing to worry about is the 20-ounce Leaper. Getting hit by the 4,000-pound car is probably going to cause the most damage, and the two 30-second screws holding it on there would snap in an instant. But that's neither here nor there. That was just part of the discussion at the time. So they want to maintain the emphasis on luxury, technology, and sustainability. A lot of manufacturers went that way. The timing, I think, is a little suspect, as the Jaguar I-Pace, as of earlier this year, was like the number one car for most number of days on the dealership lot because they turned them so little that a Jaguar I-Pace, you could probably buy somewhere in the United States a brand new 2022 Jaguar I-Pace that's unsold because they have so many other ones in inventory. Not a super huge popular vehicle. It is impressive to drive, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Because of the shape of the car, anytime I was driving it and gave it its go, it, for whatever reason, just that car, and I drove faster battery electric vehicles like the Porsche Taycan and everything, that vehicle just made my gyroscope roll. I got the feeling of like falling when accelerating in it because of the shape of the windshield or whatever the ergonomics were. It definitely messed with my gyroscope, but that's neither here nor there either. Risks and opportunities of a rebrand, alienating loyal customers. This, I think, is the number one problem that Jaguar is going to have. I'm going to get into that in a second. When you think of Jaguar customers, and so I wanted, just in case my perception was off, I'm thinking guy with a cigar, leaving the country club, smoking a cigar, getting into his Jaguar. That's kind of the image I had. I watched another YouTuber who's big name, present that his dad used to have a Jaguar, and the rebranding, his father would never drive a Jag after that because it's not what, he was kind of a manly man and successful, and he wanted to portray success, and whatever that we saw and however they're going to tie that together, it just does not seem like it would be a good match to the brand of Jaguar. So tapping into the EV demand, younger demographics. So I think that's even, the EV market is very, 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 very competitive now. People are finding out that they're not necessarily cheap to maintain because battery electric vehicles are very heavy. The one thing that nobody talks about is the tire wear. So yes, you don't have to replace brakes as often. You don't have to do oil changes, but the tires on most battery electric vehicles have to be load range, similar to like a pickup truck that hauls a lot of weight. These battery electric vehicles weigh as much as like a 1-ton diesel pickup truck. Nobody talks about that, but that's the fact of the matter. We had when Tesla was popular, when I was at Jaguar, Land Rover, Volvo, Porsche, we had customers bring in their Teslas for inspection. New York State safety inspection. 4 Teslas came in for their 1-year inspection. All had less than 18,000 miles. They were between 12 and 16,000 miles. First year, 3 of the 4 failed inspection for the tires. The tires were down past the wear bars. And in Western New York, obviously we have snow, we get snow. You need traction on your tires. And say, how could a 1-year-old Tesla fail inspection? Well, I'll tell you how it happens, how you get tire wear. First, it weighs as much as a diesel pickup truck, and they accelerate so fast. It's just like, to me, like a crotch rocket motorcycle. The acceleration is intoxicating. I'm sure every time you're at a stoplight, the want to just punch the throttle and go as fast as you can go is out there. I know that's how I would drive, but everyone's different. That wears tires in a hurry. So a set of tires for a Tesla of any model, and you're talking $1,200 a year. Most passenger vehicles get typically about 30,000 miles out of a set of tires. So they're getting less than half in some cases of wear on the tires. The one car that just barely passed inspection, there wasn't anything left of the tires. So even though the 230 seconds is where the wear bars are, that's New York State safety limit for tire wear, and it has to be 2 adjacent treads at 230 seconds or less. It just barely passed by a hair of its chin. So at 12,000 miles, so you're talking at least twice the amount of tire replacement in a 30,000 mile span. It could be less than that, but so if you compare that to an oil change, say on a gas car, and the cost of gasoline versus the cost of electricity, I don't know if there's the trade-off, but people are starting to realize that there's more involved in maintaining a battery electric vehicle than may be advertised. So that's just the reality of it. And I'm not for or against EVs. If I came across an EV for the right price, I would own one. Would I drive it on the thruway in the middle of a blizzard in Western New York? Hell no, because you're going to end up dying in the thing because you're going to be frozen, because when the battery runs out, it's a boat anchor. A tank of gas, or even a half a tank of gasoline in a car idling on the thruway, will idle all night long into the next day, no problem, in my opinion. So that is the redefine luxury in the EV era. Yeah, that is a thing. So they're looking at rebranding to try to gain favor of a younger generation, and they took it in a direction that I am no marketing expert, but I really have some trouble with. Are they, in my opinion, and I was having a conversation with my daughter, who is a senior in high school, who is wanting to get into marketing. Hey, Grease Belly, how you doing, man? Yeah, I agree. He said that it's going to be a flop big time. I really agree that I think it's going to be. I hope not, but I think it's going to be. And when I showed her the video of the car marketing and the fact that there's no car in the advertisement, and the comment section is worth all that. I think I'm going to go back into that video and read some of the comments, because let's just say that as Amala had pointed out, they're getting ratioed. So they have very low likes, a lot of comments, and not positive comments. So comparison with the competitors, or Porsche blending heritage with EV innovation. So comparing it to Porsche I saw firsthand. I told you about the Taycan. I drove a Taycan Turbo S on a PDI test drive. $179,000 car. It was promoted on top of the USS Independence in California. They put one on the carrier flight deck. They got it to go 0 to 100 and back to 0 before the end of the flight deck. You know, it's a floating museum essentially. And that was the Taycan, and they called it the Turbo S. There's no turbo. They kept the trim level off of their iconic Porsche 911 series, and they were tapping into an EV market, but they weren't rebranding the entire brand. So, and my daughter and I discussed this in terms of vehicles and manufacturers I've seen this with before. Another rebrand or different advertising that I think is negative is what Harley Davidson did this year. The CEO decided to, I don't know, alienate the clientele. I mean, it's known as a old man's motorcycle, I guess, but it maintains the heritage of being a tough, rugged, Hell's Angels kind of motorcycle, and they want something different. And I think that tarnishes what people are buying them for. Maybe less people than were before, but that is kind of the heritage of the route. So when Harley Davidson 20 years ago, I had one, I remember they introduced the Buell. They wanted to get into the sport bike market. Instead of changing Harley Davidson's brand, they had a secondary company that they came out with, a Buell, which maintained the heritage of the V-twin, but they put it on a sport bike chassis and renamed it a Buell. That was a different manufacturer, same made by Harley, but the idea was they were trying to get the younger sport bike market interested in Harley Davidsons. They provided something as an alternative to their heritage Harley Davidsons. I think that Jaguar would have been best served if they were trying to do something similar. What they're doing now, I have some real heavy doubts. It almost shows a sign of desperation in what they're doing. Lessons Jaguar can learn from successful transformation. I'm going to get into that in a second. So Jaguar's potential position post rebrand. So what is it going to look like? Will the rebrand signal revival or decline? I have an idea of what it's going to suggest, but I only am seeing it from my perspective. Obviously, you guys have a separate opinion on this. Broader implications for the luxury automotive industry. Are other brands going to see this and think, wow, this really is innovative and fresh and successful? I don't see that as being that way, but that's just me. Let me do this. So the other slide I prepared was, I wanted to see compared Jaguar to other brands that made, an impact with a rebrand. So your Jaguar is kind of hanging on by a thread, and they're trying to, become relevant again. And, there's many ways you can do it. I can think of some off the top of my head, but I am no marketing expert, but I would think that you try to tie in and tap into the heritage. So let's say a Jaguar E-Type, the sports car, the James Bond kind of like legacy vehicle, and market maybe some of these EVs in a market. Hey, you're young, you're successful, you want something sporty, sustainable, market it that way. But let's just take a look at some of the successful rebrands through the years. So Apple in 97, they struggled with declining relevance. Think different campaign, simplify monochrome logo. Iconic products like iMac and iPhone all came out in 97, kind of revitalized the Apple brand. And the way they did it became synonymous with innovation and premium technology. So that was a successful rebrand. And most people today, not me, but most people today have iPhones. I don't care for we had an Apple IIe computer when I was a kid, my dad got, and then everyone was going to PC, and then my dad got a PC after that. Old Spice. This is a questionable one, but some may remember. They were seen as outdated, targeting older men. They had quirky campaigns like the man your man could smell like, things like that. It captured a younger, broader audience, and now you see Old Spice still grocery store, Walmart, whatever, marketing deodorant and things like that. So they changed the look of their company. Dunkin' Donuts, 2018. I actually prefer Dunkin' Donuts coffee over Tim Hortons as the big brand around here. That's my preference. I do like Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Maybe their rebrand campaign was part of that. Running on Dunkin' campaign, the guy running in the coffee cup or whatever. Airbnb in 2014. I've never stayed at an Airbnb, but that was one of the big ones for rebranding to get them fresh again, get them in people's minds. And Burger King in 2021. So that I could clearly see, and we did have a Burger King right across from the one place I work, so I did go to Burger King quite often, and it did have a different feel, more modern feel, as when I went there as a kid. Appealed nostalgia while showcasing modernization. I think that's the key of successful rebrand. You dig into the past, but change it in a way going forward you're in the lead. Kind of like a comeback, Starbucks, not a Starbucks fan, but all that marketing they did in 2011. I know people that are addicted to Starbucks, they go there every day. It's obviously worked and made them relevant. So Mountain Dew, remember that? Mountain Dew, I remember the Mountain Dew race car as a kid, NASCAR, but they struggled to resonate with younger demographics. So they did extreme sports branding and bold lifestyle messaging to give it a fresh look and advertise to younger people. That kind of brought them back to the forefront. And the position is a adventurous high energy beverage. Instagram, not an Instagram guy, but they changed the logo. They did some things to make it more visually appealing to younger audiences who typically would use Instagram more. McDonald's, same thing like Burger King. They had a reputation for unhealthy fast food, and then they did the I'm Loving It campaign. All pretty much successful brands and successful marketing campaigns. Yeah, Jennifer said there's way too many fast food places around her. I think they're everywhere. People just don't have the time to make meals from scratch anymore, especially if you're on lunch and you're working somewhere. It's much easier to, get fast food from somewhere. This is kind of this. I wanted to bring up lessons from unsuccessful rebrands. And now that we saw all of it, I kind of think this is the way that the Jaguar rebrand is going to go. So, and this is the reason why I don't think it's going to go well. You have to know your audience. You have to read the room and understand and respect brand identity. Now, you may think of a certain way that people are that drive Jaguars. If you have that image in your head and then watch the advertisement that we watched, it doesn't like, can you see it blend? Can you see it fade into that? I can't. Success, sophisticated, that's the image that I have for Jaguar from way back when I was a kid, and what we watched in that ad campaign says, my daughter says, what are they advertising like makeup? Is this like some kind of artsy makeup advertisement? I said, it's supposed to be a car ad. And what? Yeah, Bud Light 2.0, Dale. That comment was made multiple times. It was one of in Amala's video, she gave like pro rebrands and then ones that weren't so successful. In the comments, and maybe, I don't know if I should read them, but one of the comments was, it went from Jaguar to Jaguar. It was just a disconnect between the two. And Amala pointed out the marketing director for Jaguar, and I thought she did an amazing. Do you guys want to watch the Amala video? Because I find it fascinating. And I think maybe you guys will appreciate her. So, anyways, these are unsuccessful brand rebrands. Tropicana. I don't recall this one, but that was one of the ones on the list. Used to have a straw in an orange, like you were drinking straight out of the orange. They redesigned the packaging and removed the recognizable orange image, which people recognize. It dropped 20% in just a few months, and then they reverted back to the original design because their rebrand didn't work. So it was an expensive rebrand that cost them not only market share, but money in sales revenue. Gap, 2010. I kind of remember this. Classic logo, strong brand identity, modernized the logo and alienated customers. Faced public backlash and reverted back to the original logo within a week. So that's a tough one. So you spend all that money on advertising and changing the logo, and it flops big time. And if you saw the new Jaguar logo, I think you'd agree. And then JCPenney, I remember the JCPenney thing. Before, it was known for regular sales and discounts, eliminated the sales, opting everyday low prices, alienated loyal customers, lost billions in revenue, and the CEO was replaced. And I looked up the CEO of Jaguar. He has worked there for like 30-some years. I don't think the CEO is going anywhere, but I'm not so sure about this brand or the marketing person. I think this might be, like Dale had suggested, that kind of way. Like, we'll get into that in a second. Crystal Pepsi, although I kind of like Crystal Pepsi because it's different, but they did it in the 90s, and then 2015 they did a relaunch. Both times failed. This was when I was researching rebrand failures, this is one of the ones they brought up. I wish they would bring it back personally. I missed the relaunch. I never got to see it in 2015, the Crystal Pepsi. I would have bought some. I don't know. I kind of thought it was cool when I was a kid, but I guess I'm weird. Coca-Cola. This is everyone, at least that I can think of, remembers this. This is when I was a kid when they went to the new Coca-Cola and it flopped. People didn't like the taste of it. And then they created classic Coca-Cola, which was the original recipe. And that was like Dale said, it was the second biggest rebrand flop that he knows of. Xerox in the 1990s. Now, Xerox is a local to this area company out of Rochester. When Xerox went out of business, it really, really hurt Rochester, along with Kodak. Kodak and Xerox were the two major companies in Rochester, New York, which is about an hour from here. And my brother worked at Kodak. It really crushed the economy in that city. So Xerox, they attempted to diversify into computers and other tech, but lost focus and just declined in market value and relevance, faced financial struggles. Sears, this is the one that I kind of remember a lot of. It was retail giant, strong catalog business. I remember having Sears catalogs when I was a kid and looking through them and circling what I wanted. And then they tried modernizing a brand e-commerce, and after doing that they ended up filing bankruptcy. Now maybe it was just sign of the times, but come see the softer side of Sears, I think, is the rebrand that I remember. And Sears is kind of known for everything but the softer side. And when they went to that campaign, it really tanked. Radio Shack, once again, that could be just a sign of the times, but when they switched, they wanted to rebrand as a mobile phone retailer. It lost its identity and declared bankruptcy multiple times. I always knew it as like a hobbyist store, to get cool gadgets from technology and electronic parts to fix things. Blockbuster, I think this is more of a sign of the times than anything else, but it was when I was researching rebrands that failed, Blockbuster was on it. And it goes back to the successful and unsuccessful brands. You guys want to watch the Amla video? Because I really like Amla and the way she presented it. And give me just a moment. All right. You guys want to? Amala Kanobi, she's a political kind of person, but she does things from a neat perspective. She's a younger creator, and she comes from a diverse ethnic background, so she can speak on topics, I think, neutrally and to the point, and she doesn't take sides in certain ways, and I think she gets to the heart of the matter. So if you don't mind, I'm going to play it. I'm going to see if I can share the screen. Whoops. You guys ready? We'll watch this. It's only a couple. So here we go. Now we're going to have to probably listen to
a really big secret with you. You see, this BMW was actually traded in All right, guys, it looks like we might have another case of go woke, go broke with quite possibly one of the worst marketing rebrands we've seen in quite some time out of the car company Jaguar. Their new ad shows that they're going full force with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the internet is having a field day. Could this be a Bud Light 2.0? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Well,
All right, guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Yeah, I'm not really much of a car person, but today we're going to be talking about the car company Jaguar. At the very least, I know that if you're making an ad for a car, it should probably feature the car itself in question. And that is not the case with this new Jaguar ad. Instead, it features peak levels of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're gonna get straight into it so you can see it. Now, this is going to be a complete overhaul of the Jaguar brand, it seems. They've changed the logo, they've changed what is featured on the car itself, although you don't get to see it in this ad because what we witness is just a bunch of diverse models walking around in rainbow colors. I shit you not. Let's watch.
oh, so he points out
Create exuberance. Oh.
We did watch this earlier.
Wow, break molds. All right, I don't know what in the androgyny I just watched when it comes to that commercial, but clearly there's some messaging underlying this new rebrand. They're
So I found that quite her comments, and then when she reads into the comments from like the comments are well worth going to the Jaguar rebrand video on YouTube and reading. It is pure entertainment if you want to see something interesting and funny. But so Dale is pointing out some facts that I think are accurate, that e-commerce really hit brick and mortar stores. Absolutely. It's tough for brick and mortar stores to compete when you can purchase something from the comfort of your own home. Right now, I could click on something and buy something that's cheaper than if I got in my car, drove to the store, got out of the car in the cold, and, you know, look through, find exactly what I want on the shelf, buy it, and then come back. It costs more and take more time. I got to spend money on gas, where I can just go on my phone, go on Amazon or eBay or whatever, click on the lowest price thing that I'm looking for that does the job, that's got a good rating, and click buy, and then in a day or two it shows up on my front porch. No real effort involved except surfing my internet on my telephone. So that's definitely a factor for some of those rebrands that failed. Would they have failed if they marketed differently? They could have failed either way, quite honestly. But I think, and Amla speaks of it later in her video, and I could play more of it if you guys wanted, but so that Alyssa Heinerscheid do, I don't know how she did, but I have a feeling she did not do very well at all. I don't know if she even has a job. It was a complete flop, and this is very reminiscent of that. So Bud Light, I remember as a kid, before I was legal to drink, I remember the Budweiser girls, it was the what's up, like the guys at the Super Bowl commercial that was famous, with the guys calling each other and just sitting here watching the game, drinking a Bud Light. That was Bud Light. And then they come up with a rebrand that includes influencer, YouTuber or TikTok or whatever Dylan Mulvaney was, and it completely negated the history of the brand. Now, as she called it, it was very fratty, the brand and its marketing previous was to guys drinking beer, hanging out with other guys. And she wanted to break that. Well, she definitely broke it. So much so that it went from the #1 brand. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 now, but Moderna is number one now. So what did that do for the brand? It didn't help it. If you're a marketing director and you're trying to sell more of a product you're selling, why would you cut your legs off at the knees by alienating the people that got you there? If your core sales group was young men, right? You're in terms of beer. If your core group is young men, why would you like completely ruin the image of young men that drinking beer to change it to something completely different because you're trying to forward an agenda rather than increase your market share, which is, as a marketing director, I would think would be your goal. You would want, hey, we already got the young men, let's include the young ladies too, or whatever your brand is. Why not increase rather than say, no, we don't, you got us here to number one, but we don't like you anymore. We're going to do something different completely. And that's pretty much how the loyal Bud Light customers felt. Like they got slapped in the face. Like, you're no good anymore. Your money is no good here, essentially, is what that rebrand did to them. And I feel this has got the same kind of flavor to Jaguar as the Bud Light had to Budweiser consumers. But tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. This is my opinion on observing things, right? Doesn't matter what you're selling. If you're marketing, I don't know, let's say makeup. Let's say it's Revlon makeup and you're marketing to young women and you're trying to stay relevant. Do you change who you're marketing to or the marketing messaging so that you completely alienate who your number one customer is to try to gain more customers? I don't think that's a good strategy. It, at least in historical terms, it has not proven to be a good winning strategy. But Amala gets into some of that more in her video. You want to see a little more of that? Because I really liked her take on it. I just think it's just fun. So let's do a little more.
Talking about breaking from molds, deleting the ordinary and copying nothing, which clearly speaks to this new diversity landscape that we have as far as our identities. You see a lot of androgynous models, men who think they're women, women who think they're men, different gender roles or characteristics taken on by the opposite gender. And clearly they're trying to usher forward this new reality at Jaguar as a company. And of course, you have the display of vivid rainbow colors. We all know the rainbow has been co-opted by this political ideology. So it's very clear what Jaguar is going for here. Now, first and foremost, before we get into the agenda here, where's the car? Not a single element of this commercial is signaling at all to the audience that this is about a car. And it's so interesting because I find this with a lot of woke commercials. It's almost like the creatives who are responsible for creating these advertisements get together in a room. They decide the political agenda that they want to push forward in this commercial, and they forget the product that they're actually trying to sell to the audience. So they run full force with all these fantastic ideas of what if we had a trans model here and a gay one there and a bisexual woman here with a buzz cut, and then they forget we actually should put the car in the commercial. We're in fact working on behalf of a company that is not necessarily supposed to be subservient to our ideology. And this is a trend that we're seeing in Hollywood, entertainment, art in general, essentially, where people are coming forward knowing that they have a political message that they want to push to their audience, and whatever project that they're putting that political message into is coming secondary to their messaging. We're seeing this in the movies we're watching, in the kids shows that are being put out for our children, in video games, and of course in corporate ad campaigns. And as crazy as it is, in a world where we're constantly being beaten over the head with advertisements, I find myself saying, please just give me a normal ad. But instead we get this from Jaguar, a message to delete the ordinary. And they're deleting the ordinary so much so that if you took the Jaguar logo off this ad, a logo that now looks like a 5-year-old who is practicing uppercase and lowercase letters, you would not know what this advertisement is for. And given that this is such a monumental shift from what Jaguar used to be as a company, I guess we should meet their new head of brand strategy. And maybe that will explain why we're dealing with this commercial.
And at Jaguar, we're passionate about our people, and we're committed to fostering a diverse, inclusive, and unified culture that is representative not only of the people who use our products, but in a society in which we all live, a culture where our employees can bring their authentic selves to work. And we're on a transformative journey of our own, driven by a belief in diversity, inclusion, creativity, policy, and most importantly, action. We've established over 15 DEI groups, such as Pride, who are here tonight in the back. Thank you guys for coming. Women in Engineering and Neurodiversity Matters. We've launched major policy revisions, such as transitioning at work, to drive equity and support for our communities, embracing individuality as our superpower.
Wow. Okay, that explains everything. And if his words didn't explain everything, the see-through mesh shirt covered by a sequin blazer would have told me all I needed to know. And I have to state the obvious. It's a car. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Dude, this is a Wendy's restaurant.
Why do we need multiple DEI departments? Why are we talking about people's gender identity or their sexual orientation or their race? These things don't matter, but we continuously see these corporate structures move in the direction of DEI. It makes no sense. And I have to remind you guys, when Boeing started focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion, we had that moment in January of 2024 where the door plug fell off the damn plane. What's going to happen to these Jaguar cars? And it's interesting that while they're doing this focus on authenticity and being yourself and showing your true colors and being different while also being inclusive, the design from Jaguar is losing all of its character and all of its uniqueness. Funny, they've changed their iconic logo to look like this. The logo. And honestly, I'm bored. And we already talked about the word Jaguar that now looks like it was written by a child. But whatever. And while they're saying they're copying nothing, someone put a side by side of all these different brands that have revolutionized their logo. And here's how Jaguar stacks up. It's giving lifeless, it's giving boring, it's giving unimaginative. And you know what? I'm not out here like shilling for corporate branding or trying to defend what we once had, but I gotta say, we did have that Lady on the Land of Lakes thing. We had Aunt Jemima, we had Uncle Ben, we had the Washington Redskins, and we had the old version of Jaguar. And I don't know what's going on, but we're not moving in the direction of progress. Somebody call PETA, because this is a case of animal cruelty. And of course, they're pulling the classic move that all of these brands pull as soon as they start dipping their toes in the water of LGBTQ themes, and they're making a different ad for Muslim countries.
I don't know if you guys want to see the rest of this, but there's a different ad for Jaguar in Muslim countries, which is interesting.
Where'd all the cross-dressers go? Besides the corner of that afro, did you guys notice anything else missing in that ad? The cross-dressing models, where did they go? I thought Jaguar was all about breaking the mold, except they won't break the mold if it breaks the bank in a Middle Eastern country. And of course, people are seeing this ad, the change in messaging, the inconsistency in that messaging, and they're calling out Jaguar and saying, you know, this is a little bit of a flop, but I have to give them credit. They are committed to the bit because they're responding to people criticizing them, and they are sticking to the script. Let's read a few. Elon Musk said, "Do you sell cars?" To which Jaguar responded, "Yes, we'd love to show you." And they invited him to join them at an event. Someone else said, "Where's the car?" Jaguar responded, "The story is unfolding. Stay tuned." Another one, "This is surely a joke." They respond, "A pivotal moment." And here's a heavy hitter. John says, "What the actual hell is this?" Jaguar responds, "The future." I sure as hope not. And of course, they're getting ratioed to hell. This original tweet has less than 10,000 likes and over 62,000 replies. And the replies are ratioing the original tweet over and over and over again. And I know I keep going back to the fact they say delete the ordinary in this ad, but I really think it is the keystone of this message. Jaguar is not listening to their audience. It's not listening to the American consumer. And we've seen this happen over and over. Most recently in this 2024 election. People don't want you to delete.
We're going to get out of that because she gets into some politics here, but I find that it's quite interesting what they decided to do. I loved Amla's take on it. So just a little bit of background on Amla. She used to think in a certain political way because her mother is in a certain political way. I don't want to get into politics on this channel per se, but this kind of like just hugs the fringe of that when we talk on topics like this, especially for car brand fun. Anyways, Amla is multiracial. So her mother and father are different races. She can speak on all these topics, I would say, in an unbiased way, as just matter of fact way. Like, this is what things are. And I don't think people can rightly accuse her of being biased or in any one subject. So, and clearly she stated in the beginning that she's not a car person, but she's a realist, I think. And she pointed out, like, there's no car. Where's the car in this marketing? It completely misses the mark. It definitely, like we talked about earlier, doesn't take anything from the brand heritage. She does go into that after her political stuff. She talks about the original. She shows an E-Type sports car from the late 60s, early 70s. Those are sleek and sexy looking vehicles, sports car, kind of James Bond reminiscent. You know, they didn't draw from that. They got rid of the logo. They got rid of the Jaguar. That was the image of the car, whether it was the leaper on the hood or the growler, as they refer to the flat badge of the cat face with the fangs sticking out. Where are they going with this, and what is it going to do to their loyalists? So let's say of the market share that they have, and it's not really big, and it's been slowly declining over time, but people that may own a small business or are successful in a certain way, lawyers, bankers, or whatever, we had them come into the dealership. So they were people of some kind of means that can afford a luxury premium brand. They wanted an English luxury vehicle synonymous with that heritage. Maybe some were older and they remember the iconic Jaguar brand. What have they done to those people? Now, granted, most of them are baby boomers. Are they appealing to their grandkids? Is somebody that's, let's say, 20, 22 years old in college, think, yeah, when I get out of college and I get my degree, I'm going to get a job so I'm successful and I'm going to go buy a Jaguar now. I'm not seeing it, but once again, I'm biased because I'm looking at it through my eyes. What do you guys think? Yeah, it hasn't been English for a long time. I believe that Jaguar Land Rover is owned by Geely Motors out of India or somewhere. I forgot where. I get confused with that and Volvo. Volvo is owned by a Chinese company now. Maybe that's Geely. Correct me on this is stuff I should remember and know, but my brain is Tata. Yes, Tata. Thank you, Mex. Tata Motors. Geely is out of China and they own Volvo. So I don't know. I just thought this is all over social media, this rebrand. I haven't seen too many positive comments. I mean, obviously they're making a stark departure from what it was with that advertisement, because what I was told by my friend Bree, who I work with, she was my shift partner at the dealership when I was at Jaguar Land Rover, is they are marketing this brand Jaguar to people, their typical customer, and their image in their mind is somebody that wears Hugo Boss and has an expensive wristwatch, something to that effect. I just don't understand how they're making that connection. I'm just not seeing it click. But maybe I'm wrong. Time will tell. We'll revisit this topic in the future. I think that's why I titled it this way. And now, I did want to present one other thing, if I can bring it up on the screen. And I'm hoping it shows up. But I had a slide. So what I did, so the thumbnail for this video, I had Chat GPT come up with that. I said, show an image of the new Jaguar logo, with a person crying. And that's what ChatGPT came up with. The image of this thumbnail was a lady crying rainbow tears and the old Jaguar logo. So that's what ChatGPT rendered an image of. So even ChatGPT, now granted, it's a AI program, but its imaging is based off of what it knows and sees. So even ChatGPT thinks of Jaguar with the old brand logo. It had the car, and it has a lady crying rainbow tears. How do you get that? I don't know, but I don't know. And even my daughter, who is a senior in high school, I tried to like get her take on this. She's like, they have to, her take was they didn't read the room. Like she might be a little biased because I had Jaguars and she went to my work when I was at the Jaguar store. So she kind of knew what Jaguar was. She knew that it was an expensive car. But her take was they're kind of missing the mark in terms of their brand and their customers. She thought it was some kind of fashion show, like makeup thing that they were doing an advertisement for with the colors and everything. It just doesn't, it's like a disconnect to me. It is. But I wanted to see if I could show you this slideshow I did. I might have to do it a different way. You guys mind holding on for a second? Because I really wanted to show you what ChatGPT. Oh, there we go. I can do it this way, I think. So I had ChatGPT draw an image of a typical Jaguar car owner. And it drew, here's an image of a typical Jaguar car owner, excluding sophistication and elegance. So I think that I can share this screen, and I want you guys to see what a typical Jaguar owner, ChatGPT AI, thinks of a typical Jaguar owner and what they look like. So check this out. Let's see if, yeah, here it is. Ready? This is what ChatGPT thinks of a typical Jaguar owner. So now it says excluding sophistication, but clearly somebody with a Jaguar in a suit and tie, it kind of, to me, shows that they're sophisticated and of means, right? And then they had a couple other examples. So let's see if I can go back to, no, that's not what I wanted. So then the next one, I don't know, hopefully you can see this. An example of an iconic Jaguar car owner. And this is what ChatGPT drew a picture of. So he's got a leather jacket on. Obviously, he's in the country. So he's taking a sports car out in the country. He's got an expensive wristwatch on. And this is what, I don't know what, that logo for Jaguar, it's kind of right, but it looks like an E-Type. He's driving it out in the country. That's what typical sports car owner, the iconic sports car owner, right? And then the last one I did, this one I think is, this is what Jaguar, typical customers would look like to ChatGPT. This is AI. Now, nothing from that car commercial that doesn't have a car in it screams any one of those three images. The guy in a sports car in the country and in casual clothes with an expensive watch, sophisticated couple here. You know, obviously this is all AI generator, but AI, you know, gleans its information and learns from the environment, which this is what Jaguar and advertising or whatever, this is what it means to AI. I think that's fairly unbiased stuff. Obviously it's man-made, but it's kind of interesting to see what they essentially AI thinks of a typical Jaguar owner. And I don't know where they're going. The car is supposed to be presented in a week or two, is my understanding, that they're going to present the new car that's going to fit this new brand image with a upside down J and the right side up J and whatever they're doing with the writing, the upper and lower case that looks, as Amala suggested, looks like a child came up with. It's pretty rough. Top Gear. Top Gear, Mex. Top Gear is where I want. So El Toro, that old Marine Air Base in California, not, well, it's far enough from Lillian. Hello, Lillian. I'm sorry, Lillian. I was trying to present the new advertisement for Jaguar. Lillian got to miss it. I think it's almost worth playing again because it is so ridiculous, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. And I thought everyone would like to comment. So she goes in a little bit further on into the iconic parts of Jaguar. And just because I cut that video off, and I did want you guys to see, I think that I would like to show the last part of that. So we're going to do this. We're going to try this again, and I'll play.
Would have been a super innovative brand with a cool design that was highly sought after. A super unique car. And now what do you have? Nothing. It's bland. And this is what happens when these brands go woke. They think that they're bringing life to this brand, the vivid colors, the new orientations, the different pronouns. But instead, what you end up being is a vampire in a see-through mesh shirt with a sequin blazer who's sucking the life out of the brand and making customers leave. But we'll see how this pans out for Jaguar. Maybe they're going to be okay. We have seen examples of this working out for certain companies and entities, and we have seen examples of it going in the opposite direction. We've seen it in Disney with Lucasfilm and Marvel. We've seen it in Bud Light, Gamergate, even this last election.
So I don't want to get into the political side of her commentary, but hey, Jay's here from Grease Belly. Hopefully you're working on something good. I'm going to try to do a collaboration with Grease Belly Garage. He's out of Florida. Next night, you see Grease Belly in Uncle Tony's Garage live stream, where Mex is also involved with being a moderator. But interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So what's your take? Comment down below. Do you think that this is going to be a successful rebrand for Jaguar? Do you think that people are going to see that advertisement, and maybe people of a different perspective than I have, are they going to see that and think, wow, this really speaks to me? As Amala had pointed out, that their rebrand and the way they're marketing, nobody really lives like that in a way. I mean, there's always people. I like people that look and act and think differently. But what we saw in the advertisement just doesn't come across as how people would actually live and operate. And you think that this rebrand is going to be good? I don't know. Oh, Greasebell, I didn't know that. Greasebelly's a mod for Motor Week for their retro live streams. Cool. I did not know that. Yeah, Dale's got a good point. This is my exact sentiment too. If they're looking for broad appeal, so if they're not trying to pigeonhole, if you're trying to expand off of the older successful person that would typically own a Jaguar, they're pretty much going away from that to a totally different direction. So you kind of alienate all the perception and the brand. Like, let's say that I all of a sudden hit the lottery and I am successful, and I want to portray that I'm successful by buying a brand new Jaguar or a car, any car, let's say, that has luxury and a person of status. So I get myself some new suits and I buy a new Jaguar and I drive around town. Look at me, I won the lottery. I'm successful, right? Now, if I'm going to look for a vehicle to show that I'm successful, with the advertisement and the brand changing, and nobody's going to recognize that logo on the hood of the car, the upside down J and the right side up J. Nobody's going to recognize that. And it's probably going to be a battery electric vehicle, which, like I said, they already had the I-Pace. And for a few times this year on the one channel that I watch who studies the automotive trend of things, the Jaguar I-Pace was the most days to sell on average. Meaning, let's say you take 100 cars of every shape, size, and brand. The car that has the longest shelf life or sitting on the shelf waiting to be sold, the number of days averaged up over those 100 cars, Jaguar I-Pace was like number one, I thought. It was definitely not in a good statistic. The I-Pace just didn't sell. It's a very unique, odd-looking vehicle, and it doesn't scream classic Jag. People that are buying electric vehicles, you have Tesla as the number one. Obviously, everyone knows, oh, you drive a Tesla, so you're driving an electric vehicle. It's kind of got some brand recognition. Now, say what you will about Elon Musk and all that. You know, maybe people are turning their backs on Tesla a little bit, although Tesla kind of made the battery electric vehicle popular. People are tending to turn away a little bit. You know, the other manufacturers, such as Hyundai, had a big push on electric vehicles when everyone was going electric, and maybe Hyundai took some of that market share. There's other brands that came up. I mean, you had the Chevy Bolt, Chevy Volt. I think they got rid of one of them. If you're looking for an electric vehicle, is there an electric luxury vehicle? Well, in terms of Volkswagen Group has the Porsche Taycan, the Audi e-tron. So are you going to, if you're looking for a luxury electric vehicle to show that you made it, are they going to go with one of those brands? Or are they going to go, yeah, BMW has a few hybrids. I think they also have I thought they had a full battery electric vehicle too. But it's just, yeah, Lily, or so I don't think it's just us, but maybe we all think alike. I don't know. Is it possible? I don't think so. We're in different parts of the world and we have different likes and I know we all drive different vehicles, different brand vehicles, but what we saw in that ad doesn't speak about vehicles at all. It really does not. It speaks not at all about vehicles. Somehow I bumped my camera here. I'm losing my thing. I think I kicked it with my foot, so I apologize for that. My green screen was not shown. But it doesn't make any sense the way they marketed that. Doesn't make sense at all. So new BMW M5, 717 horsepower, plug-in hybrid beast. Yeah. If you've ever driven an electric vehicle, and I've driven multiple electric vehicles, they are intense in terms of acceleration. Like reminds me of driving like a supercharged big block, you know, super fast, big horsepower, 0 to 60 in no time. I will recall a story that was told to me by somebody that I know. They were in a Porsche Taycan when they first were dropped off at the dealership, and they went to see how it felt driving. Somebody was driving it, not the person that told me the story. They were in the back seat, but essentially they were at a stop, punched the throttle, and he watched the speedometer jump in 20-mile-an-hour increments, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and they were on the brakes. They were going way too fast, and he's like, you're going to need a special license to drive these things. It's that insane. Like, you have all the power right now as soon as you hit the throttle, whereas in a ICE configuration, internal combustion engine car, which most of us all drive, I'm assuming, you have a power curve, you know, at idle and just off idle, your engine only makes a small amount of power, and as it gains RPMs, you can feel it pull you faster. You don't get that with an electric vehicle. It's when you mash the throttle, you're giving all the power to the electric motor right then and there. So you have all the torque and horsepower that power of, you know, rotating components is rated at. It's all right then and now. So you don't get that ramp up that takes time to get. You get it all now, all of a sudden, and you're going. And it's pretty amazing, but it does definitely, you miss, I think, the sound of the engine roaring. At least to me, that's how I feel. So what do you guys got? Anything else? Next thing says it looks like a Chinesium copy of the Jaguar logo. I think you're accurate with that. It just does not. If you see the new logo, if you see the badge on the car with the upside down J and the right side up J, does anyone, you know, think it back? You can instantly, even if you're not a car person or a Jaguar person, if you saw the Leaper, the famous Leaper, as they were called, hood ornament from a Jaguar on a new car, and you had that Jaguar on there, you instantly know, wow, that's a new Jag, right? Even if it's an electric vehicle, if you saw that on the hood, you'd be like, wow, that's a new Jaguar? Wow, that's interesting. You would instantly get brand recognition because you know what that icon is. But with the upside down J and right side J, I just don't see it. Hey, Greasebelly, thanks for stopping in. We'll have to get together on something soon. Have a good night, Jay. So, like I said, my first thought is my first thought is the Cougar. Oh, Cougar. Yeah. Yeah, they use the Leaper. No, the Leaper was the hood ornament that is iconic, right? On the hood. And then they went to the Growler. That's what they call it. The flat badge with the cat with the fangs. That's what you see on a Jaguar. It's red, and it's got just the front face of a cat with the Jaguar fangs sticking out. I don't know what you call those teeth, but that is the iconic thing. No, I did not know that. Here's a fun fact Mex has got. Jaguar sued Mercury in the late 1966 because of the logo and the headlight cover on the first Cougars. I did not know that. I did feature a Cougar GT, 67 Cougar GT on one of my short videos. It's actually somebody my buddy knows, and I actually caught it at the local pizzeria picking up pizza the one night. And I'm like, hey, do you mind if I video your car? Not realizing it was the exact same car that I videoed at his shop already. But yeah, I did not know they got sued for that. Good night, Grease Belly. So just checking in. That's all that I had in terms of presentation tonight. I thought it would go a little bit longer, but like I said, this format, live streaming, there's only a handful of us in live stream today because YouTube doesn't market the channel. Maybe even the subject material may not be in the YouTube's best algorithms, but I thought this was an important topic to cover just because I think this might be the death keel of Jaguar. I really do. I just don't think that it hits everything that I read in the comment section on car vlogs and everything else. Nobody is getting this. Like, you can just feel like the marketing department, they're not car people. Just like Amla is not a car person, claimed by her. The marketing department, you would think you would bring somebody in. Let's say you're marketing cheeseburgers for Five Guys, right? You think that you would bring in somebody that's just got a passion for food and hamburgers, cheeseburgers, like somebody like, yeah, every time I really like this part of eating cheeseburgers or whatever. But instead they're marketing for like lettuce leaves. That might be a bad example because you do have some greens on a hamburger, but it's like fruit. Let's say somebody comes in that's like a fruit expert and they're marketing to fruit, but people want a greasy cheeseburger. They're not looking at fruit. It just doesn't connect. The two don't connect. If you go to Burger King, McDonald's, Five Guys, whatever, do you think of fruit? Do you think of a fruit salad, fruit platter? You're like, what is this? It just doesn't make sense. But that's my take on it. That's my take on it, and that's pretty much all I got for you guys tonight. I appreciate everyone coming by. Lillian, Dale, Mexican Spec, Jay from Grease Belly Garage. Who did I miss? Anyone? We had a small group tonight. I apologize for that. Like I said, I did it in this layout because this is typically, Jennifer Russell. I'm sorry, Jennifer. I knew I was forgetting somebody important. Just wanted to get this topic off my chest because I think that, and I do like Jaguars. I had a few. I have them on my channel. I just think that this might be the end of Jaguar as I see it. Anyways, thanks for everyone coming out. See you guys, some of you tomorrow. I'm going to see you in the Uncle Tony's Garage live stream, probably Mex, and Dale, and maybe even Lillian. I'll see you on the I Am Puma live stream, maybe. Jennifer, I'll see you probably there. So have a good night, guys. Take care. Thanks again for coming out.